learning a lot of stuff.
You're not.
How you doing?
Good stuff,
You're black.
I'm going gray now. This is ridiculous.
There's only one person missing. I only invited 9 people.
Oh my goodness.
This is
And
lovely.
the other one is Chadwick. I can't even know where he is. Last time he came to one of these on the wrong day.
Oh, no.
So he said, I was promised to be here, so
Nice to meet you,
I'll
Marilyn.
be out there.
John?
John Newhart.
Nice to meet you, John. That's
Hello.
Frank. Hello.
How are you?
Nice to meet you.
I'm Frank.
Nice to meet you, Frank. I'm Louise.
At home.
Hi.
Redmond, DK.
Nice to meet you, DK.
Look around.
Bill?
Mitz.
It's nice to meet you. I'm Louise Olson.
A couple of days.
And you were there at
Yes.
Rhode
I worked for...
prior to his
Internet.
I was. I am.
Oh.
Yeah. So I believe it or
Oh,
not,
you're
have a little
about
institutional
10 years
history.
out of
or
it.
memory.
Yeah.
In
Did you the lecture in
the
99,
administration.
something like that?
Yeah, so
Yeah,
therefore
yeah,
you were aware
yeah.
to witness him firing people.
I was. I was. Actually, it was, you know what it was? It was building of a team. Building of a team.
Joking around.
I know you are. I'm
Yeah, I've been
building
in the corporate world. They say building of a team, the ones that get fired.
Not so much.
No.
Yeah. Well, it's been a very.
He called from an airplane. Wednesday, I guess. It must have been an airplane, right? On the way to
Miss,
Portland.
want to talk
From
about
Portland, yeah.
Huh?
going?
Well, one more minute. One person missing. One person. So he calls from the airplane and then he's headed to Portland. So short notice, you know, he's busy. I guess
Yeah, I was just gonna like
raising
raising
money.
mitts, and then suddenly the whole family showed up, so I'm so honored. I'm like, surprise, surprise me. There you go.
Okay, I mean,
You
are
look
you going to
okay.
be?
All right. Like my birthday party
I
or
thought you were
something.
going to drag in with your
Right. Yeah,
I've been following the website and all of the discussions that you've had with the students and the faculty.
Oh yeah.
So you come through all that.
Yep.
I've emerged through it. They're still coming after me though. There's strong forces that wish to still take me out, but it's interesting.
But the board is 100% behind you.
Boards are behind me. Yep.
Yeah, I remember the statement that is he still the chairman of the board?
Yes.
The
Chair of the
banker?
board. Yes, yeah. She backs me.
So they were like 100%, and then you have the right person as your what? Is it the provost or is it the
Provost is terrific. Yeah.
You elevated her.
Yeah, she was a dean before. Yeah.
So your team, inner team, is very solid.
Yeah, that's the idea.
But there's no one hanging around that's going to stab you in the back.
Oh, there are tons of people that would love to do that.
And
It's just courteous, that's all. Yeah.
now you're not recording this part. I
So it's
hope
something
not.
to work against. Hot off the press.
I wanted to ask. We're going to just have hors d'oeuvres.
Oh, great.
Since I knew you were going to have dinner tonight,
Thank you.
and then
Yeah.
people have had lunch. So
It's like talking
finger
about mitts.
food.
It's like a video, talking about mitts.
Okay. So, but I was going to ask you is the
Yeah.
starting question.
Cool, okay, so
Please do.
now we're beginning. Okay, here we go.
Sort of. Yeah, might as well. You know, time is
Let's
precious.
go. Okay,
Time
that was
is
I mean,
precious.
you're
Time is
still
precious. We're all gonna die pretty soon. Keep
43.
reminding us of that.
Yes, yes.
43.
Well, we live every moment.
We had a
Each
anyway,
day is a new
rest-
day.
Absolutely.
No,
Put one foot in front of the other.
we're all into the fourth quarter. You know,
Yeah,
fourth
Here we
quarter.
go again.
Well, wait a second, let me tell you, Luis saw me, but I was at Wyden and
I hadn't
Kennedy
even thought about it until he mentioned it.
talking about Mitz Kataoka and the 4-quarter concept.
He did. He
And you
really
got
did.
them
Who
going.
said that?
Yeah. John did it.
I carry that story everywhere. I tell the story actually about how you got into RISD and UCLA.
You do.
And you were the list of people, whatever, and you went to RISD and you couldn't go there. That's a really powerful story.
He couldn't get a place to live.
Yeah,
Right.
totally. So the people like, wow, you know.
Wow.
So-
What's changed?
So
This guy became president somehow.
Wait, you went to where and couldn't get a place? Huh?
it's school. I was accepted into Rhode Island School of Design out of high school,
Mm-hmm.
and they, you know the kind of test they had that time. You put a chair up in the upside down, sideways, every which way on the table. And there were about 5 or 6 candidates to get into the school. And then after 2 minutes or whatever amount of time to look at it, then they took the chair away. And so then you had 2 minutes to draw it. That was the test. I must have passed or got in, but then meanwhile, they had two divisions at that time. I don't know if the big division was in chemical engineering, I think it was, or textile engineering. They still have that?
Textiles, yes.
They still have that.
It isn't the chemical textile, but it's just textile.
Because
There used to be
all
one.
the textile factories, one by one, have all closed down, haven't they? All in New England. Those beautiful old buildings.
Yep.
So anyway, and then I was told, here's a whole list of, there was no dorms at that time, I think. And here's a whole list of places that you can go, knock on the door, call them up and see if you can get a place to live. And every single one that was on my list, I think there were 10 of them. And every one of them had one reason or another, well, sorry, there's no room. Basically that was the story, no room. So I called my parents back in New Jersey, so I'm not going to go to Rhode Island, I'm going to go to UCLA. So we went straight to UCLA. That's how I came to UCLA. I told them that story.
Well, were your parents out here?
No, we were still in New Jersey.
They were still in New Jersey.
New Jersey, trying to decide what to do. You know, if I got into Rhode Island, I'd stay in New Jersey. I have many friends from high school still there.
I tell people that story actually, because it's a story of diversity actually. That was that time when Miss Kataoka got in, but there was a situation like that, and now there's a Japanese American president, which is actually kind of interesting. Comment on like, how the world
It's like having a black
does
president.
change.
Exactly.
And no necktie? You still don't wear neckties ever?
Well, I actually had to buy a few suits actually, just as kind of protection.
Just in case.
Just in case. Yeah. So I have a few suits ready to go with actual neckties, but they're Tom Brown suits. They're kind of more a little funkier. Yeah.
I see, not like that warehouse guy that you see on TV.
Not like Men's Warehouse. Yeah. A little more metrosexual. You know, we're playing with the idea of a suit.
Okay, now get to serious business.
Okay, here we go.
Enough with myths.
I'm just going to start. Everybody join in because I was going to say, well, you've been at one of the most prestigious universities for several years. And then from there you decided to take a risk, take a major risk, I guess, and jump to a private arts. It's called Arts and Design School.
Yeah.
And no tenure, no nothing.
Nothing.
But a 5-year contract.
Fireball at will.
I told you when you first told me that you probably won't last 5 years.
Yeah, I'm gonna get taken out.
You told him that?
I told him that.
And he said the average president lasts will be 1.5 years when he get taken out.
So
it says I passed the 1.5 point. I think.
Yeah.
I'm close to it.
What's the next
now
one?
17 months. I counted it up.
So actually 1.4 actually.
So
I'm still in trouble.
Yeah.
So after 17 months of being there, and whatever number of years you were at MIT.
12 years.
12 years there. So what is your, maybe this is too heavy just informed to talk about, but what is your impression of the future of design and arts education in the United States? In a significant way.
It's a big question.
Not about
Just nibble away at it.
Major or that major, this major. I'm talking about in terms of the nonstop discussion that I'm hearing all the time on liberal or so-called progressive radio about how we don't make anything anymore in the United States. And that's one of the big reasons why we're in decline. And all we do is graduate people, they don't say it this way, but Harvard or the Sloan School, all the big management schools pumping out finance people nonstop. They all head to Wall Street. And that's where everybody sees the action. But when it comes down to the entire United States, and we've witnessed it in the last several months of automobiles, everything all going down the tubes. So, what's the purpose of RITSI or UCLA if we were doing anything? We're not doing anything either. All we're doing is pumping people out that sort of fool around on the computer.
Well, Mitz, I'm glad you asked that question.
I was just thinking about it.
Yeah.
But your curriculum still is involved with making things.
Yeah, one thing that, well, first of all, just talking about art and design in general, I think art and design are the...
Hang on.
Sure.
Do you see any faces over there?
No.
With black and white suits on?
I see them all.
I'll look.
Harder for me to stand up.
You're
Guy with
fine.
glasses.
Right.
It's another TV show.
It's called the round table.
The Round Table and Hop Lee.
No, the firing line.
The Firing Line with Vince
I
Kataoka.
told blue shirt.
Oh, blue shirt. Oh,
That's a second
shirt.
rank.
Not black and
I want to say one thing. I know everywhere everybody has to be so guarded these days.
Yeah, well, there's cameras right here, so...
MSNBC,
Not like the two.
That helps.
television, radio, news, they all have to be guarded. Because they're worried about what someone's going to say about it. So I want you to be aware that VASA started a whole exercise in UCLA in our department of a history of design in UCLA.
Yeah.
I have been sort of angry.
You're angry because of what?
Well, we won't get into it. But
He's on tape. Let's get him down.
he's supposed to be here right now. I don't know what happened to him.
Yeah.
He always says he's coming.
Yeah.
He said he's going to come.
Yeah.
But he's supposed to come, and Chadwick's supposed to come.
Really?
Those are the only people I invited.
Really? Oh, no, thank you.
So I'm sorry you're not here. Come over.
Here we go.
Okay.
Here comes one. Here comes one.
We got black.
Hi.
Sorry.
Man, you were so busted just now, but
I was way out there in Ontario.
Yeah, I'm trying to read it.
Hi, Tom.
I thought you were going to come on.
Hi, John. How are you? Good to see you. Welcome back to Los Angeles,
made it back.
where we have sunshine.
I'm here at Mix's Round Table at Hop Lee.
I thought you were going to screw up again.
Instead
How to make friends in this
of two screw ups, it's 1.5. Yeah.
Vasa is supposed to come too, but I don't know where he is.
Ah.
So I told you it was going to be a small group.
Yeah.
I asked him the first question just now.
This is like the firing line with Vince Kataoka. It's
Oh
like,
yeah, Mr. Blunt.
Well, he asked me. What's the meaning of art and design education in the future? Does it make a difference? Like, what's it about? What does RISD have to do with it? What does UCLA have to do with it? Does it matter what we do anymore? Are we just cranking out people that are useless in this economy? Was the question, was that correct?
That's a long question.
Yeah, it's a tough one. Well, I think there's a simple answer and a complex answer. Let's start with a simple answer. The simple answer is that yes, there is still validity to art and design education. Okay. It's a complex answer. The complex answer is that if you look at classic liberal arts education, which isn't about making really, it's about just thinking, it's kind of damaged in a way because you take yourself away from making. If you look at a vocational approach to art and design training, like you can buy for $300 for an hour or like for a day, whatever, that's just making. It isn't thinking. So in essence,
I meant to say thinking making.
well, what we're going to say is that I think that a good art and design school that has stronger liberal arts focus, more conceptual, non-vocational, is an interesting sweet spot. People who can think and make. And if there's one thing I realized by seeing so many RISD graduates, some of them successful, some of them not successful, kind of a range of people. The thing I expected seeing all these people was, I would ask them what they do, and I thought they would say, well, I make art, or I do design. Not a single one of them will say this. They will always say, I solve problems, or I'm a critical thinker, or I make questions, or I'm someone who critically makes. So I began to extract this fact that, oh, wait a second, there's this idea of art and design school creating these people. Secondly, there's a kind of stereotype that if you go to art and design school, you become an artist or designer. I discovered people from RISD who are lawyers, or doctors, or stockbrokers, who are managers, who are people who started not-for-profits. They are doing things beyond what you would call drawing, like that drawing your chair exercise. They're people actually taking that way to critically think and critically make and apply in different fields with a lot of success. You know, a good example is we have one lawyer, intellectual property lawyer, probably prominent IP lawyer, and she tells a story about how she went to RISD. She was a photography graduate, and then she went to the classical 4-year program. She taught art for 10 years in public schools, and then went to law school. And in law school, she had this experience where a couple of her professors pulled her aside and asked her, "What school do you go to?" And she asked them, "Well, why do you want to know?" And they said, "Well, we have to know." And so she said, "Well, if I tell you, you have to tell me why you're asking me this." And they said, "Okay." And she said, "Well, I went to Rhode School of Design." And they seemed surprised. She said, "Why do you want to know?" He says, "Well, you know, going to law school is really hard. That first year of law school, we pull out your brain, we make you into a lawyer, make you think like a lawyer, become a lawyer. Most people run away screaming." And he said, "All year long we realized you had no problem whatsoever." He says, "Well, of course, you know, I went to RISD, I had foundation studies, I had to make things like every second of the day, I had to change how I thought because of critique, I was broken down, put back together." He says, "Law school is actually easy for me," she said. Very interesting. So these kind of clues I found that one of the top 10 New York commercial realtors is a RISD painting graduate.
Really? Yeah.
So they're taking this basic skill they have, and it's more plastic in a sense. So what I would say is that art and design schools will have a greater impact if, number one, you know, more students are aware that when you graduate, you can become all kinds of things.
Mm-hmm.
You're very flexible. You aren't limited per se. So I want to speak to the fact that art and design school is thought to think you go in a department and you come out, you become a graphic designer or you become whatever. You know, I would see at RISD so commonly you become a glass major, but you become an architect, or you go industrial design, you become a graphic designer. But also you go to photo and you become like a lawyer, or you go paint and become a realtor.
So the tree has more branches.
It actually is much wider, the range.
Yeah.
So, but there's a problem. There's a problem on two sides. First is the external perception of what it means to be an art and design major, and also the internal perception, what our schools create. For instance, on the outside, I've been working with the Davos World Economic Forum to speak to the importance of art and design, and people are actually listening. They're very curious. I did a workshop for the Fellows Program. The Fellows Program is part of the Davos Forum. They are the younger legs and voices of the forum. They're in their 30s roughly. They're from all over the world, from different parts of government. Really talented group of people. But also they aren't paid very much. So they get an education benefit instead as part of the deal. They get 1 week at Harvard Business School, 1 week at Wharton, and 1 week back in Geneva. So I did a 2-day workshop on leadership as coming from creative principles in art and design. So I sat them around the table. This is in Geneva, and there were 30 very smart people. Who were one from Chile, one's from China, one's from Mexico, one's from Japan. It was an amazing group of people. And I passed out pieces of paper and pencils. And I asked them to take out their mobile phone and to draw it. And of course they began to be a little bit puzzled. Drawing their mobile phone, because they're drawing their phone, whatever kind of thing, you know. And they're working at the same time, so they're busy. So one guy says to the other guy, you know, last week we were at Wharton. This week, who sent the coloring teacher? So they'd be kind of like stick me in it, you know? And then another guy said to me, like, you know, he pulled his BlackBerry off the table and said, because you know, he was busy, he says, I have to email Sarkozy right now. So I'm too busy to play around with this kind of stuff. You know, that's how it began. But then as the hours progressed, they all began to draw. They were all very involved in drawing because they realized that drawing is difficult. Not just the mechanical aspects of drawing, shading or whatever, but the question of what is drawing and what do I draw? And what are you drawing? Well, why is she drawing that? And the drawings began to cover the whole classroom. And then by the end of the day, we discovered there were 3 amazing artists among these policy-making people. One was an expert in infant mortality, one was an expert in water, and the next day we had a critique all day long, where they became the critics. They had the critic chairs, and we critique all day long. And at the very end of the day, one of them came up to me and said, you know, what is this kind of thinking? It's just a different way of thinking. You know, you know, I want to take this kind of thinking into my policymaking work. One guy came up and said, you know, I have 4 degrees. I know what I want my 5th degree in now. And I know where I want to get it now, too. And then
You recruited somebody.
And a week later, the dean of the fellows program wrote to me and asked me, what happened? What have I done? Because they were so curious about this kind of thinking. And they asked me to be the mentor of their program. And I said, well, it wasn't me. It was just art and design. It's what we do. We observe, we think, we synthesize, we critique. This is what happens there, kind of thing. So there's that kind of happening right now. Inside art and design schools, though, there's also a challenge. So changing the perception is important outside, but inside as well. Like for instance, whenever I meet, you know, Mitz is Senator White House's greatest fan.
Good to know. Good to know.
Shelton White House.
He was fan.
Yes, total fan. Whenever I see Senator White House, I
He's
say,
fantastic.
it's this guy in
He's still in his
UCLA,
first year.
loves you.
Yes, he is. Yeah, you have a fan.
He's a real fan.
Yeah.
Very modest, very quiet.
Yep, but
You get it?
Absolutely.
Yeah, he's a good man. So I'll meet the senators or the governor or the mayor. I'll say, you know what? Do you have any RISD students interning in your office? Because I see all these interns. And I'll say, no, we have Brown interns, but no RISD students because we don't need people to draw things for us. You know? I said, no, you want these kids because they work really hard, they think in different ways, they communicate in ways you really wouldn't imagine it's going to help you out.
And they're observant.
And observe it.
Yeah.
So I say, well, they'll say, well, okay, why don't you send some resumes my way? And I hang out with students a lot. I'll sit at the cafeteria and just talk to them a lot. And I'll say, you know, I just visited the Attorney General, and he'd like some interns. Are you curious about being an intern? I said, well, that's really weird. I'll try that out, kind of thing. As I go to the careers office, kind of thing. So I wait a few months, you know, and I go to the careers office and ask, so how many guys did you place? You know, and the guys look at me and like say, like, you know, what do you mean, Joe? You know, why would they ever want a RISD student? Because they have no poli-sci or economics. Why would they want them? So the internal perception is also a challenge as well. So I would answer your question that can only change unless those kind of factors change. And if they change, it'll be quite powerful.
That's the short answer.
That was a long version. The simple answer was yes.
Very good answer.
Because that's in the minds of people in general right now. Not specifically as you addressed it, but everyone's fearful. All you hear is people on talk shows, talk radio, non-stop. Because they're all in their 40s, 50s, and lost their jobs. And they have no future. They can't find any way to, Obama's talking non-stop about retraining and using community colleges and all that. And it's all going to be just spinning wheels. And this is a bigger perception as you have described.
Well, we need new skills to enter the economy, I think. And I think the new skills have usually been viewed as skills coming from technology or from business schools. But these methods haven't actually played out
Hey, you
so
might as well
well.
start. Let us leave.
So,
Let us wrap.
do you presume to speak about this
Would you like a little?
periodic lectures about
Just one of these things. Thank you.
Well, I'm beginning to kind of focus right now because I know that last year was very hard because of the economic crisis. Our dollar value fell. It was very difficult. I had to do cost-cutting exercises and only the worst layoff in the history of RISD. It was a terrible year.
Sounds like any corporation.
This was too as well.
Yeah.
So I had to manage all that, really. And in the meantime, people kept asking me, do I have a vision? Does he have a vision? He's so busy because he's doing this economic crisis thing. Where's his vision? It kept coming at me. So actually 3 weeks ago, I launched my vision. I got a vision. Stay down. It's coming. And it's about a very simple idea that stems from this conversation, which is in difficult economic times, as we're experiencing right now, the first thing that happens is that countries invest in things known to improve the economy, which are things like science and technology. And right now, President Obama is pushing heavily the science agenda to increase funding and education in science, technology, engineering, and math, STEM. And that's the kind of focus right now in our country, and also in Asia and Europe as well. But as one RISD parent said to me, well, that's not right. We have to turn STEM into STEAM. We have to add art into that equation. We have to kind of bolster the sides of thinking it isn't just about technology invention, it's about a necessary complement. Is arts, and there has to be somewhere. So we've been developing a new message called the RISD idea. Or idea is intuition, design, emotion, and art. And idea is the missing idea in conversations about STEM. It's a key complement to actually transform the dialogue about what is innovation. So I'm hopeful that President Obama, when he says the word innovation, he can link it to art and design.
Well, one good thing Obama did, at least in part of the White House, is he brought in contemporary art.
Yeah.
I think that shows that he has a broader sensibility of what the world is about.
Ed Ruscha.
Well, not just Ed Ruscha, but yes,
Other things, yeah.
being one of them, yeah. I think he's the right guy at the right time, but whether or not he has the wherewithal with the party of no constantly bombarding him, that remains to be seen. But he seems like a very tenacious. I mean, the guy gets up at midnight and goes out and meets 18 caskets. I get that. He's got balls. He goes out there.
So the people who are coming after you, what is the main problem they have with you?
It's on video.
I know.
Yes. No, are they having trouble with your concepts, or that you're just so innovative, or what is it?
Zach has a production company. He's a graduate of our program.
Okay. This is for the archives, right?
Well, yeah, but also there's something else that I need to ask you about. You say you're working with